What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector here, and today I will be reviewing the Transformers Studios series number 13, Voyager class Megatron from Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Now before we get into the figure himself, let's take a look at the package that he comes in. You can see you have a nice picture of the big M Megatron right there on the front. He is number 13 of Studios series. He's a Decepticon. He is Megatron from Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, 8 and up, Hasbro. Transformers down the side, Generations, Takara Tomy there. On this side, we have number 13 of Studio Series, a nice profile image there. He is a Voyager class. On the other side, that same image zoomed out, Autobot logo there, authentic logo there. On the back of the packaging, he is big screen inspired, from the Force Fight of Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Megatron holds nothing back to unleash destruction against his ultimate nemesis. There are some awesome product images there that actually look better than the figure you get in hand, even though the figure is already really good. Transforms in 32 steps, includes figure and all that good stuff, and the backdrop we will look at later. Some other figures that all have reviews on the channel. Check those out if you haven't. On the bottom, barcode. On the top, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And wow, my face is distorted. Wow, that makes me look very nice. And before we move on to Megatron himself, he does, of course, come with his instruction manual, number 13, Studio Series Megatron. Picture of the figure, Revenge of the Fallen, Voyager class, 8 and up, Transformers, Generations, on the back, Takara Tomy and Hasbro. And moving to the figure himself, here is Megatron in his Cybertronian tank mode. And let's go ahead and look at that Cybertronian tank mode. You can see most of the figure is just done in this gray plastic, but you do get some nice painted detailings with some blacks and darker grays. First of all, you want to note his head right there peeking out of the front is movie accurate, so don't get too mad about that, ladies and gentlemen. You have his treads here with some nice silver and some nice bronze. You have some nice tracks there, some more back here with the brown, looking good all throughout. You have some dark gray used here for the front of the tank. You do have some more gunmetal grays and other grays here on the back. Have some gold picked out in paint here and here. There is the top, some nice details all throughout. There's the bottom, which you can kind of see where things are going to go, but he does have rolling wheels, so he does roll along on the ground very nicely. And overall, I think that this tank mode here gets the job done and represents well what we saw in the movie. Now, Megatron does not include any accessories. He does come with a weapon attached to his arm that we will look at later, but he does have some slight articulation. This piece can move downward and upward, but it stops right there, and these two pieces can also move up and down, so you have some articulation for your different turrets and blasters there. And now, just for a quick comparison with Megatron here he is with his Wavemate Studio Series number 12 Decepticon Brawl. You can see how they measure up there. Now, they did not appear in the same movie like this together, but they are both tanks, so I feel like that is a decent comparison. And also they're Wavemates, so of course we need to put them together, but they do look very good, and Megatron certainly holds his own and looks pretty good here in tank mode. And that's about all there is to say here for the tank mode. Not a lot to talk about with no accessories and limited details with a lot of gray plastic, but it does look pretty good. I think it represents well what we saw in the movie. Of course, it would be nice if all of this had been silver, but I don't think the paint budget had that in them. So let's go ahead and transform this guy and see what the robot mode is like. So the first thing we're going to do is come under here to the bottom, and we're going to use this double hinge to flip these pieces in, and that tab is going to go into that slot. So go ahead and do that. Just use these double hinges, flip that in, tab it in, do the same thing on this other side. Use those double hinges to flip it in and tab it in. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to untab the legs from the side here. You see there's a tab right there. It goes into a slot right back in there, and the tread, and undo the other side the same way. Just untab that, untab please. There we go, bring those around, and now what we can do is we can rotate the thigh 180 degrees. So go ahead and rotate that, and you can rotate this side as well. And now what we can do is just rotate the legs downward, and we're going to have a lot of room to operate here. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is just flip these pieces down, get them out of the way, And now what you're going to want to do is turn around here, and these pieces here are on double hinges. You're going to want to hinge them out and hinge them around like so. So you want them to be pointing out like this, and then you're going to take this piece and bring it down. That is going to make the foot of Megatron there, and then to complete the leg, you're going to want to raise this piece. Take this, it is on a slider. You want to slide it downwards, going into robot mode. So slide it downwards, or really the slider is going to go up, but you just want to slide it there like so, and then just use this double hinge to bring that up, bring this piece back down, and there you have one of Megatron's legs all transformed up. Do the same thing here on the other side. We're just going to use this double hinge to bring this piece out, bring this piece down, do the slider here on the leg, bring this piece up, hinge that up, bring that back down, and there are Megatron's legs all transformed. And I'm going to raise the camera up so that we have some room to operate. The first thing we're going to do is just bring his head down to get that out of the way. And then we're going to do is we're going to raise this piece up. It does tab into the arms, so you just want to grab the whole backpack piece and shift it forward. It's on a double hinge under there, and now you can see how that tabbed in. There was a tab there that went into the arm there, and there was also a tab on the other side that went into the arm. And now you're just going to want to bring the arms out like so. Do the same thing on the other side. Just bring the arms out. And now I'm going to raise up even further so that you can see what I'm doing here. We're going to take this piece and flip it down. Take this piece and flip it down. Make sure those are all lined up. And what should happen here is this should just come up on this double hinge, and this should rest under here. And the backpack should just go there. There are two little clips in there that you can tab that into, but the main point of locking will be this slot here going into that tab. So just get that piece out of the way if you need to, and you want to make sure that these arms will lock into these tabs, which can sometimes be a pain in the butt. Let's see if we can't get this to work with us, please. Work with me. Work with me. All right, this side does not want to work with me. Let's see if this side will work with me. So you want to make sure that you have it. There it was. Make sure that is all the way down. And now this should go in a little bit more, just enough to let you, there we go. And now you can tab those wonderful arms into place. Hopefully that it will all work for you more than it's working for me. There we go. The camera is on. It has to be difficult. Anyways, to finish this transformation, we're going to bring the legs up on these double hinges. Bring this leg up like so, and the legs are going to look like that. And then to finish the arms off, just bring them down. Rotate it so the elbow is facing forward. Flip that part of the hand in, and the same thing here. Just rotate it so the elbow is facing forward. And there you have Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Megatron in robot mode. This is TF Collector broadcasting you a correction in his review. Now these will be together for the rest of this review because I completely forgot this piece of transformation. But one final piece of transformation that you can do is split these front two little toes like so. And like I have previously stated, this thing gets on my last nerves. Please go where you're supposed to go so I can finish this. Thank you. And that's the way the figure should look. It won't look like that the rest of the review because I had a brain fart, but that's the way that your Studio Series Megatron should look when fully transformed. And after a very simple and fun transformation, other than this backpack that did not want to behave today, Megatron here looks pretty good here in robot mode. I don't have many complaints. So coming in to take a look at the head sculpt, you can see that that does look very, very nice. Let me get a better angle of that. Let's get a better angle of that noggin. There it is. You can see he has some nice red eyes with gold for the teeth. The design of the head is very accurate, looks very good. You can see all down the body, you get some nice gold details. with some great molded detailing all throughout, even down here in the crotch. Some nice gold details. Now, one complaint is these pieces do fall off very easily. Even me just holding this figure to show the details off, it is falling off. But you can see all throughout, even down the legs, you have his movie accurate tread legs going on there, looking very nice. Now, he does have an asymmetric design. On this side, you get his blaster from the movie, nice and detailed, with some nice gunmetal gray used there for the blaster itself. And you get his big clawy hand, just done in some nice gunmetal gray. Now, this is rubbery plastic, so you're not going to poke your eye out with that. But it does look very nice. The backpack, there isn't one. It closes up very nice. You expose some thrusters when you transform him. So overall, in robot mode, I think this guy looks really good. The only thing I would change is I do wish that he'd been done in all silver for movie accuracy. But like I stated earlier, they probably did not have the paint budget to do that. Now, Megatron here does have some decent articulation, but unfortunately it is a little bit flawed, which I'll talk about here in a second. But the head is on a ball joint. He can look up and down. It's also on two different hinges, at the base and at the top, so you can really get him looking up if you want to. It can, of course, rotate, but mine is very, very stiff for some reason. I'm almost scared I'm going to break it, so I usually just have him looking forward. The arms can do full 360. They can go in and out. They do have elbow joints, and on this arm you do have some rotation for the different fingers of Megatron. Over here, of course, you don't get that because it is a blaster, but what you can do is flip his little finger out there, so you have a little bit of articulation on that side as well. Nothing at the waist. Unfortunately, the legs can kick that far up. They can kick pretty far back outwards. They can go almost a full split. You do get a thigh swivel. You do also, if you get this out of the way, get a nice knee bend to about 90 degrees, if that counts as 90 degrees. It's a weird design. I'm not sure what 90 degrees is on this guy. But no ankle pivot either, so unfortunately articulation is a bit hindered. No ankle pivot, no waist joint. Just a little bit of hinderment that I would have liked to have seen done better here in the articulation aspect of the figure. Now, we talked earlier about how Megatron, of course, does not come with any accessories, but one thing you can do, which is pretty cool, is come here and grab this piece and flip it forward, and he can stab Optimus Prime into oblivion and kill him, and I think that that is a pretty cool looking weapon there. Now for a couple quick comparisons here with Megatron. Here he is with his wave mate, Studio Series number 12, the Voyager class Decepticon Brawl. And you can see there that Megatron is quite a bit taller than Brawl, so you can see how that works out. And also, I figured I'd pull him off the shelf for this comparison because it doesn't make a lot of sense if you want to kill him. Here he is with Studio Series 05 Optimus Prime, so the guy that Megatron killed in Revenge of the Fallen. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie by now, I don't know what you're doing. But you can see Megatron also a couple heads taller than Optimus Prime there. So this guy is pretty tall for a Voyager class figure. And the last thing to talk about with Megatron here is the sadly soon to be discontinued Studio Series backdrop that you get with each Studio Series figure. You can see Studio Series 13, Revenge of the Fallen, Authentic Transformers Generations. You have the Force scene back there, so Megatron can go absolutely murk Optimus Prime, and if you want to put him there, you can, and you have a very nice display option if you choose to use it. So rounding out my final thoughts for the Transformers Studio Series number 13 Voyager class Megatron. Overall, I think the figure is pretty well done. I like the details, I like the design, I like the tank mode, I like the robot mode, I like the weapon. The articulation is a little hindered. The articulation falls a little short for me, I'm not gonna lie. And even though it's kind of being nitpicky, and it might have had to be in a leader class price point to get it, I do wish the whole figure was done in a beautiful silver paint, like figures like the Dark of the Moon Sideswipe, who we'll take a look at later on, or the Deluxe Class Revenge of the Fallen Sideways. They got that full figure silver paint and this guy really could have used that, because I think that it would have looked a lot better and clearly would have been a lot more screen accurate. So overall, I think that Megatron here does look pretty good. I think that he gets the job done in a good way. I certainly recommend the figure, especially if you can find him for a good price. I think both modes look good. I think the transformation is enjoyable. But the backpack unfortunately gave me some problems, but I think that's just because the camera was on during this review. Usually that doesn't happen when I play around with this figure. So overall, I think this Megatron is a pretty good figure. He's really enjoyable, and I would recommend him. So I'm going to give this figure a rating of an 8.5 out of 10. Not quite the 9 that I gave the Voyager class Starscream from the first wave of Studio series, but I do think, other than that Starscream, this is probably the best Voyager class figure that we have gotten in the Studio series line thus far of what we have checked out on the channel. Clearly there are some better ones down the line, but we haven't got to those yet, and we will eventually. So there is the Transformers Studios series number 13, Voyager class Megatron. If you can get your hands on this guy, certainly do it. And that's about all I've got to say for this guy. See you with the next review. Peace.